Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the GPRO Podcast with your host, Jun Ho. And I have a very, very special guest with me. It's my team boss, Mark Witney. How are you doing?
Fantastic. How about you?
Yeah, not too bad, you know. We've caught this on a Sunday afternoon, a nice, lovely, cold Sunday afternoon.
It's quite cold.
Yeah, it definitely is in the UK, but, you know, it's sunny, it's not raining, so, you know, we got half of what we asked for. Yeah, exactly. You know, British weather, that's what it is. Yeah, obviously, me and Mark are teammates. He's our team leader. But, you know, for now, let's just learn more about you, Mark. Just tell us who you are and what you do, and we'll go from there.
Well, in real life?
Yeah, in real life, yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm Mark. Married to my lovely wife, Adele. Few grown-up older kids, and our 14-year-old Angel at home, whose laptop I restored yesterday, so a computer I restored yesterday, which he's now sitting in his room reinstalling Fortnite and Minecraft and everything else.
all the wonderful games, yes.
Yes, all the things that we really wish we had when we were kids.
Yeah, well, I mean,
or not, because we wouldn't have got out then and sort of actually sort of spoke to people and.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, I would have preferred the, you know, when I was about, 8 or 9, when, computers weren't really a thing back then. You just have to, you have to knock on your friend's door and be like, can my friend come out to play? And none of this stuff now.
Kind of thing.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, I've straight off the bat, we've got a very fun fact for everybody here. You know, me and Mark has actually inadvertently met before we even realized, we're both on GPRO. So, so what do you do us for work, Mark? Obviously, I know, but what do you do for work?
Well, I write customer specifications primarily. So all the legal blurb you see on the back of a label, detailing ingredients, things like that. I get the joy of writing that.
Okay. So you actually write the whole thing. I thought it was more like automated. Like there's a specific, like.
No, when it goes to customers, so various supermarkets, etc., they have their own layout that they specify, but the actual text is pulled from my specification.
Fair.
So
okay.
Just make sure it's legal. You can drink it, and you're not likely to fall down dead.
Well, you know what? Funny you say that, because that's where we come in. So I work for a global company called a food testing laboratory. And back when we were, us two had actually talked on email a couple of times. I didn't even know about this until recently. But yeah, Mark on GPRO told me, that he. I don't know how this came about, but you told me you work for, and somehow, because my customers, and I was like, how is this even possible? And yeah, we talked about it.
I think it was just my team introduction thing. Introduction
Probably.
page. Probably.
I believe you sent a sample in or something. You sent a product in, and you had to email yourself rather than someone else in your technical team. And I was the logistics manager at the time, so I was the one booking the collections and stuff like that. So, but yeah, as soon as when you told me that, I was so confused. It was like, it's such a small world, this place, to be able to find each other in in a game like GPRO, and also work related as well, which is very, very intriguing for sure.
Yeah, in the games, a coincidence in the same teams, like amazing.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, we literally only really talked when we were in the team together, and that's. Oh no, that's it. We in our team forum, we had a recently, like maybe a year or two ago, we had a thread all about introducing ourselves, because we haven't introduced ourselves to everybody. And that's where I said I worked at the food testing lab, and that's where you went, oh, is it this one here? And then we talked in private messages, and then that's when I realized, yeah, I remember the conversation now.
It seemed like a very big coincidence.
Yeah, it did, because I said I worked for a food lab in Cambridge, and he was like, oh, do you mean this lab here? And I was like, yeah, how do you know this? And then, yeah, it just went over from there. But man, it's definitely, I mean, let's talk about GPRO for the time being. Like, how did you find this game?
I'd love to be able to remember. It's 12 years next month.
Wow, 12 years, yeah.
So that's a long time. Possibly Facebook, possibly just searching F1, some kind of info. Saw the game, thought, let's have a look. Realised I was useless and just carried on anyway.
You're doing better than me, that's for sure. I mean, I only recently just got to pro, and obviously this is your first season in master. But let's go before. So once you joined, like what made you want to stay in a game like this?
Probably the same reason that most people stay in it: the belief that you can get to elite and win it.
Sorry.
And 12 years later, still realising that.
Hey, one step closer. We're getting there.
That's true. I've got to master, which is a step that I thought I'd never actually manage, having failed miserably numerous times. It's just the challenge.
Fair.
And the constant ability to mess up your strategies and tactics.
Yeah. Did you ever think that GPRO was going to be such a complicated game like it is currently now? Like when you first started?
No, because I think I won my first race. I did the silly thing on my first ever race. I think maximum risks, maximum everything, led through about 3/4 of the race.
Yeah.
Before my car sort of stopped.
yeah.
As it does. And then the first full season, won something like the 4th or 5th race in. Back in the days when Rookie had 25, 30 drivers in every group.
Exactly, yeah.
So it was more of a challenge. And then you're thinking, oh, this isn't that bad. This is relatively easy. But at that point, you're not looking at any long-term plans, any of the strategies involved, any of the understanding. You're just simply looking at race after race.
Yeah.
It took me a long time to realise that you can't just plan for tomorrow.
no, fair.
On
yeah.
GPRO, you've got to plan for 3 years' time.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Yeah. Yeah. I think when I first joined, I finished like 15th or 16th for my first race, and I was like right now, thinking back then, I'm like, how the hell did I stay on still? Because I was finishing like 11th, 12th, 13th, and for some reason I thought that was really good. And then I just kept on racing, and then yeah, but. So who was your first team? Kind of how did that kind of help you get along GPRO more easily, or?
It was Speed Star Racing, which I can't remember much about, to be honest. I think just the opportunity came up, and it was after first couple of seasons, and you realise that you don't know everything. In fact, you don't know anything.
Yeah.
And a lot of the talk in the forums is always join the team, learn. I learned a little bit, but it didn't really seem to be going anywhere. Probably lacked the kind of discussion, banter, and such like that, as you know, we have now.
Yeah.
So you don't really feel part of a team. I didn't really feel part of a team. Just felt like there was 10 people in there.
Just racing for the hell of it, yeah.
Yeah. So that lasted a few seasons, and I thought, it's not really working for me. So I left there and I stuck an advert in the forums. I don't know what it was, but something about, homeless looking for a team type thing.
fair enough, yeah. What was the kind of the team that kind of made you, fall in love with the game, or maybe make you race more seriously?
Well, after that, because I've only had 4 teams.
Okay.
Probably pretty rare for someone who's been around for 60 odd seasons.
Yeah. I mean, I've been team like 14, 15 teams, so don't talk to me about being sticking with one team at a time, but yeah.
So I went to Mad Taffs Racing.
Yes, yeah.
Which was Alan Bevan. And there was a decent team ethic there. Keith Partridge, which I'm sure most people know.
Yes, very good.
In Mad Taffs for a long time.
Yeah.
So I've known Keith for a long time through this. And that was more of a team. There was a lot more discussion, help, tactics, planning, and that's when I started to feel that with help, and that you can make more progress. And it was the fact that you go online and you have some banter with people. It's not just about sticking your car on the grid and watching your race or replay. You were talking to people. So that was probably the team that kept me in GPRO.
Yeah. I mean, my test was a well-established team back then as well. I do remember the name. One of a few British teams. All British teams that were racing at the time. So how did you kind of find out? Obviously, you stayed there for quite a bit. I believe about 20, 30 seasons or so before you moved to your current team. Is that
there's one between that, which is an even bigger thing that I managed about 40 seasons with.
I
think I did about 10 seasons with Mad Taff's Magni 15. And then I moved to Lightning Hawks.
Oh yes. Why did I forget about Lightning Hawks? Yes, you did. Yes.
Lightning Hawks, Alan Halford.
Yes, yes.
Jens Frostrup, Max Watson briefly. So, and a fair few others who are still doing very well in GPRO.
Yeah. So how did that come about? Why did you change between the two teams?
Mad Taff's in a similar way to, well, not in a different way from Speedstar. It just seemed to go stale. People move on, new people come in. Maybe there's not as much banter. People he joined with don't, it doesn't. Some things don't work.
No, fair, yeah.
Lightning Hawks was like perfect fit and was there for some like 40 seasons.
Fair.
Probably would have been there now, but
I mean, that's fair enough. I mean, yeah. So obviously, been there for 40 seasons, like you said. Alan Halford was part of the team, one main guys. Well-established GPRO managers. So obviously been there for, like I said, 40 seasons. But how did the change from that to obviously your current team now, see next Tuesday? Was it the same thing as well? Like maybe a bit of kind of decline or.
Yeah, I think I got a bit frustrated when Alan left Lightning Hawks. I ended up as team leader. Didn't really want the job because it was a tough act to follow.
No, okay, fair, yeah.
And then set myself a task of getting the team in the top 50, which managed for a couple of seasons. So I was quite pleased, quite happy. And then it's difficult. I think my idea of being a team is that we're a democracy, and that everyone should have an equal say and such like. And I found that people seem to struggle to commit to decisions.
Okay, yeah.
At Lightning Hawks, and it just became a chore. Finding a new person, and you've got people that like, we shouldn't take this on, we shouldn't take, we need someone with experience. And as you know, sometimes you've got to take a gamble, give people a chance. So
exactly.
I got into it. If that had been the same sort of belief with me, I might I wouldn't be playing 12 years later.
Fair, yeah.
So it's sometimes you've got to give people a chance, who don't have 5 years experience and haven't been in Master or Elite. And
yeah. I mean, I see that in our current team now. There's people there that you would never, dream of, potentially building a team together. But James Hawthorne, you've got Adam Barron, Matthew Tooth, you got Leon Labuschagne, and everybody. Like, people, they're not even known names in the game, but once you've been in a team with them, they're a great fun bunch of people, and.
Yeah, that's it. We have our banter, and everyone's working towards the same goal.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's not a team of 8 and 2 individuals or anything like that. It's a team of 10 who.
Yep.
We've got a goal.
We have a goal. We are. I mean, we're not hitting the goal at the moment, but the last 2 seasons, we've definitely seen improvement in our team, and it's definitely something that's positive to look at for sure. Yeah, 100%. So how did the join to see next Tuesday then? Why this team?
Well, Alan had asked me a few times in the past if I was interested, and it was like, I've never really been a fan of team hopping. Sorry, Jan. sorry for that one.
No, taken.
So I stayed there for several seasons after Alan left, and then, like I said, the frustration came about, and it was maybe now's the time. Back in those days, See You Next Tuesday, I had a fair few big names in.
Yeah, of course, yeah. It was
strangely, within the season or two of me joining, they seemed to leave, but
I don't think it's because of you. I don't think it's because of you, Mark.
So once again, it was, do you stay or do you go? And I was happy enough with some of the people that were still there, and didn't really want to move because there's potential here, and that's back in the days when Riley was team leader.
Yeah.
I could mention numerous people who left in between. But yeah, it was a fun place to be. And there's still the same goal. And then over probably 4 or 5 seasons, underwent a massive rebuild, just to something like we are today.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was lucky in a way that I rejoined racing at season 76 when you guys were still kind of in that rebuild stage. Obviously, how I joined the team. I was part of Kamikaze Racing, my first team when I joined back. Very good team, don't get me wrong. They're a really nice bunch of people. But obviously, I saw an opening in See You Next Tuesday. I spoke with Riley before in forum games and stuff like that. And then, to be honest, looking at the other people, including yourself, Mark, I didn't really know much. I was willing to move into this new team, knowing that you guys are in a big rebuild, and try to help out and try to do that kind of stuff. And it's worked out for the best. Met some really, really good people. Obviously, unfortunately, Riley, left the game because of certain personal issues. But we built a brotherhood here. It's not just a fact. It's not just a team. It's a team of family here. Right? It's a family. 10 family members in there, in my opinion. So, so obviously, once Riley left, you became the team leader. Was there something that you would wanted to inherit after such a long time there?
Probably not. I mean, the thing is that there isn't pressure on a team leader generally. It depends on how you view things and expectations. And probably now, obviously, having a couple of seasons where we've hit the top 100, which was way ahead of expectation and plans.
100%, yeah.
This year, we've got a lot of rebuilding going on. I said rebuilding, but a lot of team members have got long-term plans, which are obviously affecting our team position. But to us, that's not a big deal. We all know
of course.
that in a season or two, we'll be back up there and moving on. But as I've said in the forum, in the team, I'm quite open to sharing the team, the role, up and down if anyone wants it and such. Because it's not like I'm some kind of Hitler figure who dictates how things work.
Yeah.
As you're part of the team, you know how it works. We discuss things together. We plan things together.
We're definitely very open. It's like we have 10 team leaders in the team, to be honest. Anyone can move up at any time, and we all share the same things. We all share data, share kind of tips and tricks on how to be better in the race and all that kind of stuff. So
and point out how useless you are most of the time, but that's a separate.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's a given, to be honest. I mean, I wouldn't expect anything less. Why are we called See You Next Tuesdays? We have to be like that for a reason.
Very much.
Yeah, exactly. But it's that kind of I would say harmless banter that kind of solidifies us as a good team, and
understanding everybody and understanding how they feel and what you can say and what you can't say.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah. I mean, obviously we got a relatively new member in Doru, who although his English might not be too well, he's still starting to get into the bantering and starting to understand the British humour, as we say.
Yes, British humour's a very much a tricky thing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, luckily I was born in the UK, so it kind of quickly grew to me and quickly learned it. But for other people who may not understand British humour, it's kind of straight to the point and somewhat harsh, but it's how it is.
Somewhat harsh, but only in a good way.
Exactly. We wouldn't be like this if we didn't like the fellow or like the person at all. So
that's always been a comment that you only take the mickey out of people you like generally. So
exactly,
you must be very popular.
Oh yeah, I mean I get the mickey taken out all the time. I feel so loved right now. So what's like the the long-term goal for the team? Do you think?
We've got Lightning Hawks in the top 50, and I really believe that we have as good, if not better, team than I had there. So I don't think that's unreasonable.
No,
How long it takes is another matter, but
yeah. I mean we've had this. I mean, I can share this to everybody. We had this long-term goal of top 100 for season 80, and we achieved it in season 78 with like our top 80 finish, and then did equally as good in season 79 when a whole host of people, including yourself, myself, James, and Doru, all promoted in their respective groups. So we're definitely ahead of of our long-term goals, and top 50 in the next 2 or 3 years, or 2-3 seasons. It's definitely not out of the realms for sure. We can even aim for top 32, to be honest.
Yeah, a team cup run would be nice.
Yeah, a team cup run would be good for sure. I do love to see our name in there for sure. Yeah, because we had beforehand we had a couple of one season runs, and that's back in the day with like yourself and Alan and everyone who was in the team. So we would definitely want to try to get back to the the days of those where we're challenging for the big with the big people.
Well, we seem to be moving up again because we keep getting mentioned in the Oscars, never in a positive way, but
yeah, I mean, yeah, what was it we mentioned last season? It was like most lovable team or something. And
yeah, which was an interesting one because obviously it was.
I don't know who voted. I don't know who voted.
It was nice to be there.
Yeah. It's good to be recognised for sure. Especially with the last few seasons kind of going down. Now we're kind of rebuilding back up again, which is good. But yeah, what's like your kind of goal in GPR now? Is it still trying to get to elite?
Obviously,
yeah,
it's got to be the goal, but I'm currently in a situation where I'm going to relegate at the end of the season.
Yeah, I mean,
despite my best efforts, I think that you've got to be realistic and look at. But obviously, you learn a lot more.
Of course, yeah.
For instance, in Master 4, you learn not to pick bad years because everyone's got them.
Yeah, I mean, we'll say we're kind of lucky that you picked Yoko's just to save a little bit of money while going down. But
I thought bad years could be a reasonable choice to keep me up, and then unfortunately, you find out that 15 people are on them.
Yeah, that's fair. But no, I mean, you got there. Shall we say just by pure coincidence? Because obviously the previous season, we did plan on you pushing for promotion. Didn't quite work out because you're in the same group of Jason Clayton, which is 17 wins and 17 races in pro. It's just insane for.
Yeah, it's Jason's fault that I got promoted.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
not because of his relegation, because I tried to stop his 17 race run.
Oh, I remember this race. I was watching this as well. Oh man!
Unfortunately, that got me the points that effectively got me promoted.
Yeah, that second place finish was just.
Yeah, so it was a little bit. It was very bittersweet.
Yeah.
But I was in a nightmare position where I was after my 10-season achievement with the driver, and I thought I needed to race in race 1 of season 81 to get the award, which meant that I couldn't go negative and relegate because I'd lose it.
Yeah.
As it turned out, I got it at the end of season 80.
Oh, okay. I thought you had it. Okay. But...
So I misunderstood the rules behind that, which forced me to get promoted.
Oh, God, yeah. That's fair enough then. Jeez.
So it was a very rough time, but Masters fun. It's nice to finish last, as in last race.
And like you said, yeah, finish last without smoking or without doing...
I think it's the first time I've ever finished last in a race without smoking. So,
I mean,
I'm not sure there's an achievement for that, but...
Well, there is an achievement which is finish first to 40th. You have to finish in every single position. So,
Well, that's one step nearer that then. So.
Exactly, yeah. That 40th place could be that one to get you that achievement,
Yeah. The positive, you see. Everything's not positive.
Exactly. Let's move away from GPR for a second. Let's talk about you more, Mark, especially in real life. Kind of what hobbies do you have? Like what kind of stuff do you do in your spare time?
GPRO, not that. Well, as I've got older, things have changed. So my days of five-a-side and squash somewhat longer.
Oh, you can't, because I mean, you can still play football. I mean, not to a higher I won't say a higher level, but you can still play along with mates and stuff like that.
It's stopped being fun where you used to watch 17 and 18-year-olds tear past you.
Okay, then yeah, that's fair enough. Then yeah,
because your head's still willing, but your body's just no.
You're like, I know what this guy's doing, but my body ain't gonna do
that. yeah. I know where he's going, but I can't stop him. So so I moved on to more lazy pursuits, which GPRO being one. Horse racing and bought my first horse last week.
Okay, fair. How's because I've always had people who I worked with who had owned horses. Like how does that even work? Like, do you have to get a license to try to get horses, or you can just get?
No, I just joined a syndicate. I probably own three nose hairs of a horse.
Okay.
I don't have the kind of income to do it properly, but it's just a bit of fun. It'll be something to watch, and I'll lose money.
That's fair enough. Well, we hope you get better. We'll hope that horse becomes a Grand National winner, shall we say?
That with reasonable targets, I'm not disappointed.
I mean, obviously the Grand National was yesterday. So did you go watch that on TV at all?
Yeah, watched it on TV. That's something I used to go to every year to entry for. Religiously through the 90s, went I think virtually every year.
Fair.
Nice expensive day out.
I mean, obviously, do they still have that rigmarole of like formal dress code, or is that something else? Because I'm not much into horse racing.
It depends where you go. If you go into the cheap seats, it's jeans, t-shirt, whatever you feel like wearing. If you're a proper owner and such like and that, and you want to go and pay £200 or something then they expect you to wear jacket and tie and such like.
Now that you own a horse, once your horse goes to the Grand National, you have to do that,
Well, there is that side of it, so you never know. A few years' time.
Yeah, I mean, obviously with the Grand National yesterday, we had the an awesome news that first female jockey has won the Grand National, which was a very uplifting news, especially for female jockeys.
It was, although I think sometimes the female thing is somewhat overrated because it's one of the few sports where they're even. In the same way you could say F1 would be, there's nothing stopping a woman driving in F1 against men.
Yeah.
So it is really nice to see, I don't know, parity. Because it's there's no. It's not like say in athletics where a woman is never going to run under 10 seconds for 100 meters.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it may happen in the future, but at this
realistically, in our lifetime,
yeah.
So it is nice to see sports where they are equal. And obviously, this season, Rachel Blackmore's been outstanding.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. I mean, and she won a couple of big races beforehand.
She's won a lot of big races, and it's the thing. It's like anything. It's ability. And the same thing in F1 is that obviously the argument about the best car and such like. But even on the best horses, you jump in fences and things, and like yesterday you've got 39 other horses there. If you in the wrong place at the wrong time,
could be in
you're on the floor. So
no, so
it's a lot of knowledge and experience and expertise, and it's nice to see.
Yeah, I do kind of want to see more kind of men and women competing against each other. So I watch a lot of snooker, and snooker is one of those sports that a female could potentially win. I also watch darts as well, and we've had instances where a females a woman has beaten a male and especially in the World Championship. We had Fallon Sherrock who's beaten two top tier men in the World Championship games. So I do like seeing that. I do like seeing a mixture of kind of females and males kind of competing. It's good to see that in more than one sport now. So it's
well, darts is one of my passions because it's not, and age isn't necessarily a barrier, although your ability does go downhill. So I still play a lot of darts.
Yeah,
dartboard downstairs. I've played 3 former world champions.
Oh, okay. Who are the 3 then?
Eric Bristow, Phil Taylor, in exhibitions, and John Boy Walton, who many years ago won
the video
version. He used to play for a club in Bradford.
John Boy Walton, yeah.
It was actually a league game,
A league game with John Boy Walton.
That was before he was world champion, to be fair.
Okay, fair.
So that darts is still very much a passion in F1. F1, I've been to Japan and Hungary, which are unfortunately were probably 2 of the most boring races in the history of F1. Went to Suzuka in 2012, and I think there was one overtaking move.
Wow.
In 53 laps. But it was fun. It was definitely an experience.
Yeah. So you say 2012, right? So this was before the hybrid era. It was So the noise must have been phenomenal when you were there.
The noise was deafening. It's like you've got your earplugs, and it's like, I don't need these. And by lap 4 or 5, because you've got 3 different cars coming around, and they all sound totally different.
Yeah.
And it's like, you've got to wear these.
That's fair then. Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, Formula One. I mean, how long have you been following Formula One for?
A lot of years. Shall we say? We can go back to.
What's your first memory of racing?
First proper memory, I suppose, is back to like Keke Rosberg in the Williams. Blue and white. Keke Rosberg, Nelson Piquet. I can remember bits and bats before that, but not necessarily as clearly, if you know what I mean. And it was always that excitement, I suppose, and the noise. And Muddy Walker. I think probably for people and most people over the last 35 years, but prior to say 2000 or so, would be Muddy Walker. I remember one of the most exciting things was getting F1 97 on the PlayStation because you have Muddy Walker commentating.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I am kind of a little sad and thinking that I wasn't born in the era where Murray Walker was kind of commentating. I mean, I was born in 91, but I didn't really follow Formula One until like 2004, 2005. At the time, that was, you know, Brundle and someone else commentating. So I never had that iconic voice. You know.
That's it. He could make the most boring thing in the world sound exciting. It was,
exactly, yeah.
that ability he had to just, and in sort of Chris Kamara style, sometimes mess it up.
I mean, I do love his, Murrayisms. So it's just definitely something that a lot of fans do kind of, maybe they don't like the racing, but they do love the commentary, and that's definitely one thing that he does, exceptionally well.
Yeah, I think if you're honest, these days most races are pretty stale and boring once you get past lap 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Unless some team messes up with strategy and such like, it tends to be a bit of a procession, which does take it away. You need a bit more exciting racing. Some of the talk about reverse grids and such like might be more fun.
Yeah. I mean, what's your opinion on that reverse grids? Do you think it'll be something that would excite a race more? Or
I don't know enough about how they try and make it work, because how often is it to teams abusing such like? So you just end up with teams going as slow as possible. I don't know how.
Yeah.
How it would work really. So I suppose unless they come up with a decent solution, you could still end up with Mercedes on the front of the grid as the slowest cars.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Yeah, I mean,
find someone taking 4 minutes to go around Silverstone.
just him trundling along. It's like, oh, I forgot to do a lap. Oh, my bad. No, I mean, an idea in my head that for them doing reverse grids would have been taking the previous race results and then putting them that way in that order. But then qualifying will be gone. So I don't know how they're going to sort that out.
They also that thing, if someone crashes out on lap 1, Mercedes or Red Bull, then obviously they're finishing last effectively. They're on pole for them.
But then obviously that's a race, points gone for them. So I wouldn't think they want to crash on purpose.
No,
but it would be it would be a silver lining for people who who do accidentally crash at the start. But I don't know how that would work, because you have to kind of match that with qualifying, and then
I'm sure if they ever come up with a proper idea, they will have thought it through. So I'm sure there'll be rules to make sure that it's not abused.
I mean, obviously, another idea would have been just give them equal cars and just do it as normal. But
this is the big argument about things like Formula 2 and such like that. Just like touring cars is much more exciting to watch, but lacks the glamour.
Yeah.
And if you watch a touring car race and then watch an F1 race, one after the other, you tend to be a bit bored by the F1.
Oh yeah.
Which maybe something that was different back in the 80s and early 90s. And
I do remember my first kind of memory was a British touring car race on Channel 4 when it came up at like 6 a.m. in the morning. Just turn on the TV and it just comes up, and the racing there, bumper to bumper, just side to side, just scraping the car as you're crossing them. It's just it was definitely exciting racing for sure, and it was something that kind of got me into motor racing in general. What other motor racing are you kind of into other than Formula 1?
Well, touring cars I like because it's like that, and that's probably it really. I mean, like I say, I've only been to two F1 races. I took my son to Hungary in 2017. I was about 18 because I promised him that I'd take him when he was older, because when I went to Japan he was too young.
Yeah.
So I took him there and he loved it. But it's obviously loud but different. By that point, it's quieter. Shall we say?
Quieter than the non-hybrid era.
Yeah. And he was a Vettel Ferrari fanatic, and Ferrari got a 1-2, so it was great for him. I spent a small fortune on a Ferrari shirt and a Ferrari cap for him. almost broke the bank. It almost cost as much as the tickets, to be honest.
Wow, damn. Okay, that's quite fair enough then. Yeah,
but they're Irish prized possessions still. So
yeah,
it's great.
So, who was your all-time favorite Formula One driver in your opinion? Obviously, if you can't name one, name just 3 or 4 if you want to. I mean, it's
Schumacher very much, because he did a lot of stuff in what was not the best car. He had quite a long time in the best car, but also when he wasn't in the best car, still do it. Keke Rosberg, because that's back in those days when it seemed like more like racing. It's probably hard these days. I mean, I love watching Verstappen and Leclerc because they're young and hungry, and because they're not quite in the best car, they've seem to have to push it more. And I think it's different really for Mercedes generally, because it's a case of, right, let's get on pole, off we go, and everyone else is following, and they've got to work a lot harder to get there. Lewis, in his early career, liked him. Now it's probably personality, to be honest. I just not really a fan. I think he's sort of if you watch a lot of early interviews of him, he's really friendly, approachable, and such like. And certainly the last 4 or 5 years, he seems to have gone the other way, and doesn't really seem to have time for that. But obviously, you can't argue with his ability.
Yeah, that's one thing. Yeah.
Even in the best car, you still got to finish. So
exactly, yeah.
So it's that thing that, yes, I still, the massive debate that obviously rages every now and again on GPRO and the world in general, who's the best driver. And I think it's still got to be Schumacher, although Senna, he didn't really. He ideally, I would say, he needed longer. We would love to have seen him around longer back in the days when he had him and Prost were great together.
Yeah.
No, maybe not as friends, but from a racing point.
Definitely racing point, yeah, racing side of it, yeah.
So it's difficult. It's like everything. It's all these kind of comparisons. It's like who's the greatest heavyweight boxer ever, and obviously people say Ali, but then if you look back at how they trained and such like then, and conditioning and everything that they do, the bottom line is that Ali in those days probably wouldn't have lasted 5 rounds with half the boxers around these days. The Ali of the 60s and 70s, if he had the same training, conditioning, and all the dietary things and everything that goes along that, it's a different matter. But on a plain simple him from then, so and it's the same with any sport and anything like that. That comparisons, you can't. It's apples and oranges. You can't really generally compare them.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. No, it's definitely because I never like comparing kind of different areas, of drivers, because back in the 50s and 60s, you might have been a much better driver nowadays, just because of how easy to drive the car compared to back in that day where there's no power steering, manual shifting, and
that's it. There's no steering wheel with 400 lights and buttons on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it might have been much more difficult driving back then than it is now. So I can never really compare. You might say that Fangio might be the best driver ever, because if you would have been in a 2020 car now, he could back in prime Fangio, you could be steaming everybody.
Yeah, that's it. And all that stuff's so hard to do. It's so hard to compare.
Yeah,
you've got to look at the eras separately.
That is fair enough. Yeah, that's fair for sure. Yeah. But no, yeah, it's great to hear about your your love for different sports as well. We haven't talked about football. I really want to talk about football and darts for you, because with darts, for one, I don't really have anyone that I know that really, really loves kind of darts. as much as I do. So I do follow darts quite a lot. Obviously, the Premier League of darts is happening right now. My favorite player, Glenn Durrant's playing one in, obviously. So, definitely got to follow that. But
He's struggling.
yeah, I mean, he struggled the first 4 games, but he'll bounce back for sure. Hopefully, he'll get into the playoffs.
Yeah, I think he's got his work cut out, but it's very close.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of new players. Well, not new, but new to the scene, like Jose de Souza. You got maybe Johnny Clayton's in the
Johnny Clayton's there. There's a lot of. It's the thing that there are names that if you like darts aren't new, but if you only watch certain things,
you'd be like, who are they?
yeah. I mean, my wife's favourite at the moment is Dancing Dimitri.
Oh, Dimitri Van den Berg, he's good. He's lovely,
and he's great. But if you don't watch darts a lot, then you've really no idea.
Yeah,
outside the likes of Peter Wright, Gerwyn Price.
Yeah, just World Cup, just World Championship winners. Yeah, but yeah, like you would know, like Michael van Gerwen, Peter Wright, James Wade, Rob Cross, like just big names.
Well, a couple of years ago, we went to the Premier League in Leeds. I mean, 2019. I'm guessing certainly not 2020.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So, and Jack legged it down to the stage, for sort of stuck his hand through for as it went past, and he ended up with a flight and a stem from Peter Wright.
Nice.
So he's chuffed with that. And then I think it was the last or the second to last game, James Wade was on, and Jack's down there, and he's like that. And James Wade stopped and stuck his hand out to shake his hand.
Oh, nice.
So he was absolutely buzzing. So James Wade sort of
was that during the walk-in? Or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, went down towards the front of the stage, but because they just do the touch sort of thing.
Yeah.
Obviously used to do. But yeah, because James Wade stopped and shook his hand.
Fair. I mean, it's definitely a memory for sure. It's definitely something you want to, keep in your mind forever.
He's now far more excited at the idea of going to darts again than F1, because obviously F1 is a distant sport. Whereas darts, it felt sort of part of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I did say if we went to F1 again, we'd get there for the Thursday for the grid walk and such like.
That's right. I mean, would you think of going to a Silverstone, race one day?
My tale on that, I suppose, if you want so give everyone the boring details. When I looked at taking Jack to a Grand Prix, you had a choice of 3. There's Silverstone because it's UK. Hungary and Belgium are both in the school holidays.
Okay, yeah.
All right. Now, Silverstone, 2 tickets on the start finish straight was £795.
Okay.
To go to Hungary we spent 3 or 4 nights in Hungary and a night in Austria. Tickets for the start finish straight and all the travel associated with it. So we got the train from Austria. We flew to Austria because it was cheaper. To fly to Hungary Grand Prix weekend.
Yeah, definitely. No.
Cost me £812.
Yeah, I can see now. I can see why you wanna. Yeah.
So 4 or 5 nights abroad, 2 different countries and such like, was virtually the same amount of money.
Yeah.
And I don't know what Silverstone price is like for food, but I would imagine that I save a lot of money on that as well.
Yeah, no, for sure, yeah, 100%.
So much as I'd love to go to Silverstone, we were just priced out really.
Yeah, definitely prices for sure. Yeah, If you think of it that way, yeah, if you include travel and everything like that, and then definitely going abroad is definitely something.
Well, 3 days, I think it was 3 or 4 nights in Budapest. I don't know if you've ever been there, but it's a fantastic city. It's beautiful.
I actually went for a GPRO meeting in 2012 to Budapest. Was it 2012 or 2011? I can't remember when. But it was one of the GPRO meetings, and yeah, there was one in Budapest. Absolutely stunning place. We actually had a load of local Hungarian managers from GPRO took us around. And then he took us to a sports club where we had local Hungarian food and just had a good old time. It's definitely fun for sure. Yeah, 100%.
Which is, we went back the following year, took my wife as well. And we've currently on our third cancellation this year.
Oh, good, yeah.
Because of COVID, because obviously we plans to go back again. But it's probably my favourite city. I enjoy Tokyo, but it's just a bit too hectic.
Yeah. I mean, like, yeah, I mean, if I want to go to Japan, I wouldn't want to go to Tokyo. I mean, I would go for like a day or two, but if I want to spend 2 weeks in Japan, I would want to go to like the outskirts, you know, the kind of the less kind of busy areas, just to look at the scenery and stuff like that. I think that'd be much more.
Yeah, we have a 3-year plan for going back. Going back for me, going back, and for these two coming with me for when Jack's 18. So we go for 3 weeks.
Nice.
He wants to, he's a massive Cobra Kai Karate Kid fan, so he said, "Can we go to Okinawa? Can we go to Okinawa?" Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's good to have. It's good to have, you know, a place where you really, really want to go to. Like for me at the moment, apart from Japan, I don't think there's any kind of desire to go anywhere that I really, really want to go to. So it's nice to have, you know, a couple of, you know, places that you know.
Yeah, it's difficult. There's so many places, but it's how many places do you actually want to go?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Well, yeah, no, so I kind of envy your kid. You know, your kid in the way, because at least he's got a dream of going somewhere that he wants to go to. So, you know.
Well, it's still only in the theory stage at the moment, but it'll happen because I want to go back. So
yeah. I've never been to Japan, so it's definitely one for me to go to for sure.
I mean, I have a slightly amusing tale about that if you want to, because I'm sure people love this.
Go ahead, yeah.
Because actually, I'll start with one. I was on some countdown when I came back from Japan.
Oh, okay.
Got badly beaten, but it was great because Nick Hewitt had never been at the time, which surprised me because you assume these people have been everywhere. So we actually had a lot of chat off stage about what it was like. But when I went, we flew from Leeds Bradford to Amsterdam, and we had a couple hours in Amsterdam. So we sat in a bar as you do, a quick beer and stuff. They put out a call for the boarding. Didn't realise that all the flights were on the ground floor and we were upstairs.
Oh.
So we rushed there. We got there, threw everything in the tray, walked through the scanner, took everything back out the tray. Fill your pockets up when you're rushing, because basically you're told, plane's going. Got on the plane, and sort of, we'd not really taken off, and I'd done patting all the pockets as you do, everything. It's like, where's my passport? Oh. So panic, but find it, it's in the tray. It was under my boarding pass. I didn't need it. I didn't need my boarding pass, so I just left it. Talked to the cabin crew. They contacted the airport, said they'll have a look. Arrived in Japan some 10 hours later. Not sent me passport. No passport on me, definitely. The Japanese said, right, well, you can't come in. We want to send you on this plane. Which the cabin crew said, you just can't do. Can't do a 10.5-hour flight, an hour turnaround, and then,
fly back.
So I spent most of the day negotiating with the Japanese authorities trying to get in, and it was a case of if you can get something from the embassy, the UK embassy will let you in, temporary passport. Unfortunately, I couldn't go to the embassy because they wouldn't let me out of the airport.
Yeah,
and the embassy couldn't come to me.
Wow.
Because they needed, whatever. So eventually, having decided that I could stay in Tokyo and not go anywhere else, I said, "Why are you here?" I said, "Well, I'm here to go to the Grand Prix." Right, okay. This went on all day, being as patient as you possibly can, because obviously it's my fault. It's not their fault. Yeah. Got to sort of tea time-ish, and they said, "Right, you can't go. We're going to put you in a hotel overnight and ship you back the following day." So a little bit depressed. But my fault, can't argue. So friends left to go, and I was taken to this hotel, this airport hotel, special wing where they have guards. armed guards.
Jesus Christ! Okay.
You're not allowed outside the room. The windows are shut. You're not allowed outside out of the room. Outside the hotel. I did get to go to the vending machine.
Yeah.
To get something to eat. But you're not allowed outside.
Wow, Jesus.
So stuck in there all night. I had deportation papers because they'd already printed them out.
Yeah.
Got me to sign them. It's like I knocked on the door, asked the guy, so what time do I have to be at the airport? He said 9-ish. About 7:15 the next morning, I'd sort of turned the shower on, just getting ready, sorted out, going back. I'd spoken to your wife, look, I'll be on today. And the guard knocked on the door before he came in, because Japan, they're so polite, fantastic people, to tell me that they found my passport in Amsterdam, and it was on the flight coming out that I was due to be deported on.
Oh, wow.
So my reaction was a bit, let's just say my legs disappear.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably the most stressful night of my life. Got to the airport and I had to fill out all these forms, got charged £360 for the joy of the room and the guard.
Jeez, yeah.
And it was, right, you can, we'll take you down, sort me out. And the bloke took me down, took me through everything. And you've got a little card to fill out. And one of the questions is, have you ever been deported from Japan? So I'm here and I've still got these papers, which officially say that I'm not getting in.
Yeah.
So I asked him, I said, what do I put? He said, just put no. But obviously I didn't want to put no and then have them scan it or something and the system come up and say,
so you have been, yeah.
You don't know how it works. So I got in a day late, got to where we were staying, and it's a case of, do you need some sleep? No, I was sort of, obviously I was like someone on speed or something, presumably, because I was that giddy, thought I was stuck going home to get in there. So it was somewhat crazy.
I can, that just sounds good. I mean, I wouldn't have a similar story, but I had a story about a passport as well. So in 2015, I've left Bristol to move back to Cambridge. And then just as I moved back to Cambridge, we had a 2-week holiday in New York with my family. So we were on the coach to Heathrow, and 5 minutes before we arrived at Heathrow, I have a fanny pack on me because every time I go on holiday, I have one. Got to keep all your essentials there nearby. My passport was on the back of the fanny pack. I opened it, checked it to make sure it's there, and I put it back in. And I was like, oh, okay, all good. So 5 minutes later, we walk out of the coach, and then took all our luggage, and then took the trolley, and then went onto the lift. And then my mum was like, yeah, do you have your passport on you? I was like, yeah, I just checked it 5 minutes ago. And it's like, you have to check it again. So I went back to check it, no passport. And I was like, I definitely saw it 5 minutes ago. And then I was like, maybe I dropped it in the coach. But this was like 5 or 10 minutes after I left the coach. So the coach must have left by now. So obviously my mum and my brother all left the thing, and I was staying in the lift, furiously pressing down, trying to get back downstairs, and then ran to the coach station. Thank God this guy is a massive smoker, because he must have been there for like 10-15 minutes. It's like smoking along or something. Got there, and then I went, I think I dropped my passport inside the coach. Can I have a look? He was like, no, you can't go in because you might stay in there. So, and luckily there was the guy next to us. He was like, oh, you're looking for this? And he was got my passport in his hand. I was like, oh, yes, thank God for that. And then I wouldn't know what I've done if I hadn't had my passport. I think me and my mum would have just flew, and I just stayed in England. But not as crazy as your Japanese story for sure, but one that could end similar, to be honest.
Yeah, never again. I just never do that again.
Yeah, that just sounds stressful as hell. I wouldn't be able to handle that if I do have left it somewhere. But Mark, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, man. It's literally been great. It's such, it's good talking to you because we never met before. we talked through emails, via work, and we talked through forums via the game, and this is good, seeing a face to a voice, So it's been absolutely a pleasure talking to you. Any final words for everybody here?
Because we never got down that bit. So I'm a Southampton fan, I have to admit.
Oh, okay.
Football wise. So I'm never going to get accused of being a glory hunter, but that's my, I don't know, guilty pleasure. Being a Southampton fan.
Fair. I mean, I'm a West Ham fan, so it's we've been similar. We've flirted through relegation and Championship and back up to the Premier League. So you guys are doing well at the moment, aren't you? In Southampton.
Well, we're not doing too badly, but we're not in with the chance of European places like West Ham.
Yeah, I mean, how we're still up there, is credit to David Moyes. I mean, when Moyes signed for us, my initial thought was, why? I mean, his first stint was him saving us from relegation, which was very good. We're deeply in debt of him because he saved us, from being a club with a 60,000 seater stadium in the Championship. But yeah, now he's done wonders. We're in fourth place. Got a game against Leicester in 30 minutes.
It is. So you definitely need to get organised.
So yeah, it's definitely something. Yeah, he's definitely done wonders. But Southampton's doing well. I mean, obviously, as I spoke about Leicester, you don't want to hear about that score again. But I mean, you had it twice
this season against Man U as well. So
you had it twice this season. It was not this season, but he had a 9-0 thrashing twice, which is unheard of.
Yeah. And to keep the manager, he's a great manager. It's difficult. I mean, against Leicester, we had a play sent off in the first few minutes. The team just seemed to lose interest. And against Man U, similar sort of thing. We got a bit unlucky. It's life. Your team can't win every game.
Yeah,
you'll accept that.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I mean, even if we don't get to Europe this season, which for me it would have been a disappointment nowadays, but I'll still be happy with a 7th, 8th place finish for West Ham. I mean, it's definitely an improvement from last season for sure.
Building for the future.
Exactly. I mean, West Ham, nothing says West Ham than building for the future, as I say. But we always build for the future, and we just never we never get there. That's literally our life right there.
Yeah, we just have this dream that it'll happen one day. For most of us, it doesn't, but for Leicester, it did.
Oh yeah. No. That's the dream now. Now we've seen Leicester do it. Every team's dreaming of winning the Premier League one day. Obviously, because you live in Bradford, are you a Bradford City fan as well?
Yeah, I've got an interest in Bradford. It's difficult. When I used to work in Leeds, and a lot of people would say, why do you support Southampton when you live up here now? And my comments are always the same. If you move down south, would you stop supporting Leeds? And it's like, well, no. So, well, there's your answer. Your team generally is your team. So I have an interest in Bradford. Jack's Bradford lad, taking it with a few games. He's had a few photos and stuff like that. So he sort of buzzed over that. But it's that thing. I think everyone has an interest in their local side.
Yeah. So obviously, if there's a game between Southampton and Bradford, who would you support? That's always a question I ask every fan who has a local team. And
Southampton. It's not one I'd have to think about. It's simply Southampton.
Because for me it's difficult trying to decide between Cambridge United and West Ham. Because I've been following Cambridge since 2001, 2002. Been to a lot of the games. High flying now in League Two, above Bradford, shall we say? But
Bradford are doing well since they got rid of Stuart McCall for the 15th time.
Yeah, that was. I was surprised you got him back for this season, and then you didn't. Wasn't the best for you guys, but I wouldn't know to support if the two teams played against each other. I'd always hope in the FA Cup, because we had Man United one season, and then we had Leeds on the next season in the FA Cup. So I wouldn't know what would happen if West Ham and Cambridge played, but we'll try to see that when we get there.
Yeah, so it's something you don't have to worry about just yet.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, we may be in League One next season, and we might go up a little bit more.
It'd be good to see. And get promoted with Bradford.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully we'll see Bradford up there as well, because Bradford's, for me, Bradford still feels like a, Premier League Championship side. So,
yeah, it's disappointing living in a city this big to have a team that's so poor, because they have quite a decent support. It's just the lack of any kind of money, which obviously, as we know in football these days, is everything.
It is everything now, yeah. I mean, Cambridge has always have an affiliation with Bradford, not with Bradford City, but obviously when we joined the league in 1970, the team that we replaced was Bradford Park Avenue.
Park Avenue.
So we'd always have an affiliation with you guys. but yeah, mate, we can talk for hours and hours, man. It's
Can we? You've got a game in 25 minutes, and
I know. I'm trying to make it. I'm trying to make it there. But it's been an absolute privilege talking to you, man. It's really, really good. Hopefully, you had fun as well on our podcast.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised at how long we managed to do, and sort of like in some ways, loads more that we could actually sort of cover. So it's been very surprising.
Yeah, I mean, it's just what happens when you have two mates talking to each other. It's how it is.
That's it. Yeah. We could end up doing loads more, but then people are getting bored or more bored, depending.
No, we had a lot of interesting stuff to talk about, and I'm pretty sure people would love to hear, your opinions on, certain things, because I said you're pretty much a well-known name now in GPRO, especially in the foreign game section. So I'm pretty sure people would love to listen to you and just to hear about your take on stuff. So
yeah, well, it's been fun. So it's been fun for us. So it's like, well, if nobody else cares, then do we care?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I don't do the podcast for monetary gain or anything. I just do it just because I love talking to people, hearing people's opinions, and letting them speak their minds about what they like. So
yeah, it's just fun.
Yeah,
and I get the luxury of talking to a teammate and someone I know through work.
That still boggles my mind how we went there.
That one was strange, I got to admit, but the fact that, let's say, I think the name just rings a bell.
Yeah.
What's the odds?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like I go through hundreds of names at work, so it didn't really click at first, and then just go through the search function on my email, and I just see your name there, I'm like, there he is. Yeah.
And at some point, if you reschedule this meeting, I'll attend.
Oh yeah, I did tell your boss that I would talk to other people if they are interested in learning. So we might speak again.
You never know.
But no, Mark, no, I've had so much fun talking to you, man. It's been really good, and I hope everyone else had fun listening. Got a really, really special guest for the 9th episode, and then the 10th episode. It's a very, very special episode. It's actually another interview, but it's an interview with a former GPRO manager who was, shall we say, very famous in the motorsporting region. So Mark will know because I will tell him after the podcast, but you guys will have to wait for a couple of weeks to learn about that. But no, Mark, cheers. Really appreciate your time. Thank you very much for talking.
Oh, thanks. It's been great.
And I thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you guys next time. See you later.
Cheers.